So, anyways, that's when I fell in the pool, and I think I broke both my legs and my hip. But hopefully, I can see the voodoo doctor tomorrow, and he'll fix me right up.
Yeah, and that poor kid that was underneath you when you fell in. Oh my lord.
Yeah, I mean,
Ugh.
it is a shame, and the mother was crying for like hours, and she was just inconsolable. I was like, dude, it's just a kid. You have like
Oh,
5
hey,
of them.
hey,
You
hey,
don't
hey,
need that. What?
Chris,
But
Craig's here. He's recording.
oh shit, yeah. Oh, hey, Craig, how's it going?
Hi,
Hey,
Craig.
buddy.
We're the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. We talk about tabletop role playing games. I'm Jay. I'm joined with my co-hosts Christopher, Christian, and Dan. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello there.
God damn it. Still no. All right.
Oh, yes.
Whatever. One day.
Never.
Where can they find us other than at the hospital?
Well, other than other than there, you can find us on social media of various sorts. We are on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts. You can also find us on twitch.tv/Grumpy Dungeon Masters on Tuesdays and Thursdays, streaming video games of various sorts, currently Grounded 2. And on Saturday, you can come watch Grumpy Dungeon Master Chris run his D&D 5e game, the Waterdeep World-Born Dead campaign.
Yeah.
Do you have notes for that, or did you just actually memorize all that?
You just memorized
it. Just ad-lib it each time, and so that's why it's never quite the same, but I try to vaguely get it, as close to the same as possible.
Okay.
So speaking of intros, I was on vacation all weekend, and I went to. I normally every year I go to Medieval Times, but this time we decided to basically change things up, and we went to some pirate show. The pirate show was good. It was like a lot of acrobatics, just like Medieval Times. Same story, same everything, just with pirates on the water. But interesting about this is that it's actually owned by Dolly Parton, or one of her companies, or in association with her. So she has her own like Dolly Parton Medieval Times themed restaurant. So I guess maybe just cowboys and I don't know.
You better be able to get
Indians.
some good brisket.
Right. But when we were walking in, this, late teens, early 20s kid was standing there, and he went on this long tirade about where we were, who we were going to be rooting for, where to stand, where to cheer for. It was like a good minute and a half. This is the intro that he had to say into for you going into the pirate shop floor thing. And it was quite lengthy. And I was like, hey, how long did it take you to memorize that? And he goes, oh, about one day. You say it so many times. But he just sounded so dejected that it was just quite funny for me.
I mean, it's a job. It's a job.
Yeah. I only found one gaming store in where I was on vacation. Just one. They didn't have any more, for sure. I looked real hard.
There are no gaming stores anywhere that you're at.
Yeah. Well, there was one. And I was able to go there and kind of look around. And it was fairly big. The inside kind of looked like an old tavern. It actually had like old, like recovered wood and stuff like that. It was fairly cool looking. They had a giant mimic chest, like you could reach in and like grab dice randomly and stuff like that. And I would say like 9/10 of the store was dedicated to miniatures, like little tiny plastic miniatures, like Warhammer, the D&D minis, the Reaper minis, and like that was most of the store. But all I saw people in there doing is playing Magic, and they didn't sell any Magic cards. So it was very kind of off-putting in a way. Like Magic is usually what keeps a gaming store open. So I don't know how they were open and why everyone was playing Magic there and why they weren't selling Magic cards. It was just
did they sell comic books?
No. They sold board games and tabletop miniatures.
Are you sure they didn't sell Pokemon or Magic or any of that?
I saw Star Wars collectible cards, but they weren't playing that. They were actually playing Magic, and they had boxes of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not keeping a store open.
Right. So either they sold all their Magic cards. I mean, they had magic paraphernalia everywhere. Just didn't have any magic cards. So I'm guessing maybe they sold their entire stock of
No
magic
way.
cards and they just weren't getting new ones. I mean, that happens at my store. They don't
Really?
Yeah, they sell it real quick, and the only reason my local store gets new materials, and this even goes for D&D and stuff, there's a couple like non-store individuals in the area who get store supply like personally, and they kind of like resell it to the store. So like when Final Fantasy came out, my store sold out in a single day. So they had to buy more stock from this other guy who had his own store supply, but he doesn't have a store. So they got another wave in of his stuff.
What you're saying is that he's a scalper and a douchebag. Got it.
I guess at one point in time he had a store, but just doesn't run it anymore, and just is kind of like.
So he's still raking in the profits as if he owns. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Got to make a
But-
living somehow.
Well, I'm guessing that's maybe why. But my store also buys a lot of old cards and old sets, and will put stuff up on the shelf. Like I sold them a bunch of 2014 sealed boxes that I had, and they sold all that stuff out pretty quickly. So
That is wild.
Yeah.
Like I've never been to a store that couldn't keep product, and I've been to a
Well-
lot of fucking stores.
my store sells out, but this store I have no idea. I didn't get a chance to talk or anything.
Yeah.
I told my wife I was going in just to look at the D&D books to see what they had, because I was looking for one specific book that I can't find that's out of print.
What? What
Dungeon
book?
of the Mad Mage, Waterdeep
I mean-
Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
I mean, you have every 5e book, don't you?
I don't have that one. No,
Really?
I borrowed that one from one of my players and never bought it, and then I gave it back to him, and now I
Okay.
need it again.
I'll keep an eye out. I might see it somewhere.
Yeah, I see it like on eBay, but like I can't find it anywhere that's not a eBay store. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so I went in there. I promised I would only look at the D&D books, then leave. And obviously, I wasn't doing that. I was looking around the store very slowly, and I was pissing my wife up. So,
Good thing she
So-
doesn't listen to this podcast.
nope, not at all ever. Nope. I mean, it is her podcast. It is about wrestling.
Technically, yeah.
And so we were on vacation. One night, we were actually just sitting around, kind of like just shooting the shit, doom scrolling and shit. And she asked me a question of whether or not I ever heard of Shadow of the Demon Lord. And I was like, wait a second, that's that like 4E, 5E system some guy made. I can't remember who made it right now, but I know it was an old designer of.
Robert Schwalb, I think.
Yeah, Robert Schwalb.
Is
Yeah.
and it is a mashup of like 5e and Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yeah, it looked really interesting. I know we talked about it on the podcast well before you guys joined a long time ago. It was fairly interesting. And I guess on some subreddit, they were talking about a spell that is in the book that is like the most horrifying spell ever to exist. And I'm going to read you guys the spell.
I can't
it's a-
wait.
It's a forbidden attack spell. It's called Seal the Cavity. The target is one size one or smaller living creature within short range. You run your fingers across your face as you intone the spell. You make an intellect attack roll against the target's strength. On a success, a flap of skin covers certain parts of the target's body, choosing from the effects described below. The effect lasts until a target or another creature uses an action to cut away the flap of skin with a blade, which deals 1d6 damage to the target. Now, here are the areas that you can choose. Seal, mouth, and nose. The target cannot speak, cast spells, and requires speech or breath. It is in danger of suffocation. Shadow, page 202, whatever that means. Seal eyes and ears. The target is blinded and deafened. Here's the best one. Seal
butt.
genitals and anus.
Yep.
The target is impaired. When impaired in this way, the target is fatigued and slowed. The target takes 2d6 damage after 1d6 plus 2 hours, and again at the end of each hour thereafter, from the building pressure in its guts. If the target becomes incapacitated by this damage, it dies as its bladder and bowels burst inside the body. On attack roll 20+, the target is subject to 2 of the 3 effects instead of 1. After effect, you must make a strength challenge roll. On a failure, you're subject to one of the spell's effects of the GM's choice.
I gotta say, if they think that's the
What book did this appear in?
Shadow of the Demon Lord.
if they
Shadow the Lord.
yeah, it's not a D&D thing by any means. If
No,
they
it's
think that's the
pretty
worst, they've never
Go ahead.
read the Book of Vile Darkness. Just saying, there's way worse shit in there.
Yeah, it's pretty explicitly. This book is a grimdark, like apocalyptic body horror kind of book. Where that seems on brand
Yeah.
for the book.
The only thing I remembered from it, and it's what I told my wife, was the death saving throws that they had in it were pretty cool. So like when you go down, you roll a d6. On a 6, you're dead. On a 1, that's a success. On a 2, 3, 4, or 5, that's a failure. And I really like that.
I like their system. They have there's something called boons and banes, where instead of just advantage or disadvantage, which I believe they also have, but you add a d6 to a roll or subtract a d6 from a roll, but they can stack. But so if you have like 3 boons, you roll the 3d6, but you don't add them together. You just choose the highest of them to add to your base roll. So instead of you run into situations where like, oh, you have advantage, but something else gave you advantage, but you can't benefit from it. It's like, well, you have a boon and you add another boon, and then you just roll them both, and whichever one's better helps you the most.
The best part is that the spell in this discussion was attached to one of the like Star Wars memes with Anakin and Padme looking at each other. And the first panel is Anakin. He says, "I'm going to cast Men Butthole," and Padme goes, "Ha ha ha! You're joking, right?" And that's when it goes back to Anakin, him looking pretty stern. Just like, there's no such spell, right? But there is. It's Men Butthole. Seal the cavity.
Yeah,
We might have talked of all the ways of all the ways to die. I don't want to die that way.
No, we may have talked about this thing a long time ago, but I have no recollection of it. But yeah, like the cover art for this Shadow of the Demon Lord looks like it's straight out of a Warhammer fantasy setting.
It really is. Like, I was actually quite interested in it because it reminded me a lot of, like, I'm going to say Diablo, like Diablo 1, Diablo 2.
Yeah, there's
and it had a lot of 4E rules / 5E rules because I guess the developer was a part of 4th edition, but left like in the early development of 5th, and so a lot of the good 5th stuff was in his like improvement of 4th edition. It's almost like a 4.75 in a way. But I remember looking through some of the rules and being fairly impressed by it. And I was like, I would actually play this system, but it is a very grimdark setting, and that's a very, I'm going to say niche group of people that will play that, even though Warhammer is fairly huge.
Yeah, that's people like me.
He was in that small development group, like him and Monty Cook and a couple other guys that were in the very early part of 5e development. And then at a certain point, they all left for whatever reason, but they all left the project, and so this is what he went and created after that, was his own game.
Yeah, and it's done fairly well overall. If I remember right, there's like 2 printings. Like he has Shadow of the Demon Lord, and there was a Kickstarter for the successor to this recently.
Shadow of the Weird Wizard is his same kind of system, but it's less grimdark fantasy. Still weird fantasy, but not as grimdark. More just adventure fantasy.
Yeah, it really is very reminiscent of like Warhammer Fantasy. It's not quite up to the levels of like Lamentations of the Flame Princess or anything, but still grimdark enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily try hard grimdark.
Like I promised myself, if I ever saw this for sale anywhere, I would buy it. I just haven't gone out to like order it or anything. But
yeah, there's a bunch of books for it. It looks like too.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that I did over vacation. Is I just did some work, and we talked about Seal the Cavity pretty much all weekend, and we went into much more odd discussion about like what would be the worst thing to seal when, but that's not really a discussion for here. So, but yeah, it was
Dan, you
it was
had
definitely
a
fun.
vacation-based D&D random encounter.
Yeah. I went to see my family over in Alabama for Labor Day weekend, and just happened to hop onto Facebook Marketplace. I frequently check just to see if there's anything of note nearby, and popped up that there was somebody selling like some first edition AD&D books nearby for like $20 each. I'm like, okay. I asked my brother where
Nice.
it was, and he's like, about 20 minutes from here. I'm like, okay, well, let me mess with the guy. I mean, half the time these things are scams. Let's see if he actually has these things. Like, yeah, sure, I'm home. Over here, live over here. I'll you can either come today or tomorrow. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, we're about to go out and get groceries. We'll swing by. So I swung by, and I got a copy of Legends and Lore, Dragonlance Adventures, and a almost mint copy of the Fiend Folio.
Now, did you not?
Nice.
For
Did you not?
$60.
You didn't have any of these, did you?
I have Dragonlance Adventures, but a later edition. I have Legends and Lore. It's not the one that has like Cthulhu mythos in it or anything
Yeah.
like that. But I have a really beat up old copy of the Fiend Folio. So,
Okay.
yeah, I have these. It's just that, I mean, the
Better
price was
copies.
right. It's better copies. And I was expecting, sometimes, usually when you see this sort of thing for sale, it's usually somebody who's like selling their kids' stuff, or a sibling died and they're trying to sell it.
Mhm.
No, I get to the guy's house, and it's just a little house out in the outskirts of Birmingham, and opens the door. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I introduce myself. He hand him the cash. He hands me the 3 books, and he's like, "Oh, I also threw in this." And I was like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh, it's a zine I write." I'm like, "Oh." And the zine is called Crit Happens, issue number 1, The Hex Crawl of Horror in the World of Krish. And turns out this is a streamer that goes by the handle Flint Fireforge that I think, Christian, you said you had seen a couple of his videos of, hadn't you?
I had. I just randomly ran across him talking about some variety of old school gaming topics.
But I read through his zine. It's actually pretty good. It is a very basic run through of how to run and create a hex crawl. For those that are not familiar with it, the introduction to it basically says the guy started his love of hex crawls since B2 Keep on the Borderlands, and of course he began his love of D&D back in the 70s, and it basically just gives you a very simple way to create a horror-based hex crawl in his own custom world. And I went ahead and looked up the guy, and he's got he is a professional game master and does therapeutic game mastering, which is interesting, and which handle things like social anxiety, trauma, things like that. Used to be a youth pastor, or may still be, and yeah, he has like, I don't know, a few thousand followers on his stream and a couple hundred videos. So it looks like he has probably a dozen or more zines that he's written too. So yeah, it was kind of surprising just in the rural Alabama to find just a really prolific gamer.
Yeah, I know.
To sell. Like it wasn't that he was like getting rid of his stuff or anything. He's like, oh, I just had some extra copies. I wanted to make sure somebody who'd love them would have them. I'm like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I definitely will. So that's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, it was definitely a D&D random encounter in Alabama.
Yeah, he's apparently he's just Flint Fireforge on YouTube, and he has 1.88K subscribers and 376 videos. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, that's more videos than we have podcasts.
Yeah. Well done. Just randomly finding people, and I won't say nowhere Alabama because it's right. I mean, it's Birmingham, but still.
Yeah, I mean it's in the outskirts of Birmingham, so
yeah. It's like an hour. It's an hour from where I'm at, out here in the fucking country. So
yeah, but yeah, just thought it was an interesting sort of random thing I stumbled upon. But yeah, he seems pretty cool. Might reach out to him and see if we can get him on the podcast, because I'd actually like to hear some about therapeutic game mastering because I've read about it. I'd like to actually hear and talk to somebody who's done it.
Yeah, I've read articles and stuff on it. Like it's becoming very kind of common. I know a lot of schools do D&D because it teaches team building and things like that. But it would be neat to talk to somebody who's actually done it,
Mm-hmm.
or is much more knowledgeable and into it. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, Christian, the Vaults of Vaarn second edition Backerkit Kickstarter, whatever it is, just wrapped up this week. I know you backed it. I really, really wanted to back it, but I may do because I know they'll have like late pledges and stuff, so I might do that when it comes around.
Yeah,
for those, yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
Okay. I just randomly I saw something before the Kickstarter. I think because I saw an interview with the author talking about another module he had written that was nominated for one of the Ennies, called The Shrike. But he was also, they mentioned, they said, "Hey, aren't you doing a second edition of Vaults of Vaarn?" And he talked a little bit about that. And I was like, huh, okay, that looks cool. So I did some digging, went and looked at the stuff available for it. It looks like a really cool kind of science fantasy world. It is, a lot of it is meant to be kind of generated on the fly. Like when you start up your campaign, you roll up to kind of start seeing where things are, what factions are in play, what they might be trying to do, so that it's kind of each time you play, it's supposed to be, a little bit different. The world is different, the state of the things are different. So yeah, it seemed really interesting. It's I think it's built on the Knave 2E rule set, though it layers its own kind of rules and stuff on top of that. But I think they use that as the kind of core or base engine for it.
Yeah,
Though they mentioned that plenty of the stuff is system neutral enough that it's pretty easy to adapt to any kind of old school D20 based system. If you just wanted to use the world, and even the abilities and other stuff are pretty easy to slot into, say, OSE or Shadowdark or anything like that.
It's weird because, well, it's not weird. It's just one of those things. Sometimes advertising does work on me, pretty rarely, but this is one of those cases where it kept popping up on my YouTube channel. It'd be like a minute-long commercial, Vaults of Vaarn, second edition, and it would talk a little bit about it, and it didn't really give a lot of details, but then you go to the Backerkit and start reading up on it. And I would see the artwork, and like everything, if you want to attract me, you need the artwork to be like this. And I saw it, and immediately I'm thinking, this looks like Moebius artwork. For those who aren't familiar, Moebius was a French artist, died decade ago, maybe a little more, but just a very unique art style. And like I immediately was attracted to that, and then I had to look more into it. It game setting wise, it reminds me a lot of like Mutant Crawl Classics or Gamma World, where it's a mix. It's a very much sort of a mix of sword and sandal. Yet, there are crashed spaceships around, and occasionally laser guns and synthetics and things like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, he lists some of that kind of stuff as kind of his inspirations, but Moebius is his art inspiration for the setting. So yeah, if it looks like that, it is on purpose, as that is various. But some of the other things he lists are like the Book of the New Sun, Mad Max, Fear Hero, the Dying Earth novels of Jack Vance. So it's kind of meant to be that sort of kind of retro future science fantasy, the kind of almost John Carter of Mars, that kind of.
Yeah, it's all the things that work for me.
But yeah, the artwork is honestly what sold it on me too, because I also saw that and I was like, that does look like Moebius, and then I saw, oh yeah, that's on purpose, and then the whole setting is kind of built on that kind of vibe, and so yeah, this was a cool thing. I'm looking forward to it coming out. Next year is when we expect to get the physical books.
Yeah, I actually went out after I found about this and found the first edition PDF online just to kind of skim through it, and even like the character creation is just interesting because it's a lot of charts that are randomly generated to figure out what your character looks like, what your character can do. I assume the second edition is probably going to be very similar in that regard because why would they change it?
Yeah, it is. In fact, they've got a preview attached to this that you can kind of look at, and very much it is, yeah, you generate your stuff. They encourage you, hey, you can roll randomly to see what your ancestry is, and then you, based on that, you have a bunch of charts you can roll to see, what you look like, what kind of things you might be able to do, and what gear you start out with.
What year you start out with? Oh,
What
gear.
gear? What
Okay.
gear? Yeah.
Oh, I got a rock.
I mean, well, if you're playing like Call of Cthulhu, it's what year we set in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is true.
1880s,
Where are we starting?
1920s. Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
you can play fungus people.
Yeah, it has got my interest. It's got the same kind of weirdness that draws me to Planescape, and this has that same very weird feel of just another world, a bunch of weird characters and weird factions that are all trying to make their own way and do their own things in this world. And I like that it's very much built for sandbox play. This is not there is not a big plot line going on here for you to solve or a story that you're supposed to follow. It is meant for, to be a sandbox for your characters to play in. There are factions that will all have their own goals and they will be trying to do different things, but how much you want to get involved in those is going to be up to the player characters to see who they interact with, how those interactions turn out, what interests them, or what directions they end up going. And so I very much like that sort of thing. That's the kind of setting, that's the kind of thing that appeals to me to run as well as play in.
Yeah, I miss getting to play in sandbox style games. Just hey, the game master sort of reacting to everything that the players do, but it can be a much trickier thing to run because you as the DM don't know what your players are going to do. I'm about to start running the geez, I don't even remember the name of it. Give me 1 second. I'll find the book.
Intermission noise playing now.
Yeah, the Caverns of Thracia that I just ordered. I'm getting ready to start running it, but it's Western Marches, so a lot of the things are just going to be sort of randomly generated wherever my players are going. So,
Kentucky?
What?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Thracia, not Kentucky. I mean, I know they're both backwater. I love you, Kentucky.
You just called another state backwater, and you, sir, are from France?
I'm allowed. I live in Alabama. I can call every state backwater.
Well, you're the king of the backwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Vaults of Vaarn is one of the new things that I am most excited about. I will definitely be psyched to try to run that when it's out sometime.
That's
also
awesome.
Got announced maybe before Gen Con, maybe at Gen Con. The Cypher system is getting its second edition, essentially.
Okay. That's another one. What? No, don't answer.
Cypher's a Pokemon.
Like Cypher is another system that I've never played. I'm not super familiar with it. That was the one our buddy Joe really liked a lot.
I ran Cypher system for a little while. We stopped. We eventually just we didn't finish the campaign so much as we decided that we were done playing that system.
Yeah, that's
bad?
No, it wasn't bad. It was a great system for like short games, short campaigns, like maybe 12 sessions, or like
Oh,
one
right.
shots at a con or something like that. But there's only so much you can do, and there's a lot of things that were just, I don't know, it didn't feel right to do. Like what was it? You basically had to spend basically your XP as well as your life force / HP in order to do anything cool. Otherwise, you're just slinging generic damage all the time, which was kind of boring, and also kind of annoying. So, I think, which is one of the things they addressed in the new edition. And there was very limited descriptors for how to build your character, so there wasn't much difference between the characters, especially after you've played for a while.
I
see.
remember we talked about this on the podcast a
Yeah,
little while
only a
back.
couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was for a different. It was the cipher system for a different setting that
Numenera,
Yeah, that's what it was. Numenera.
Yeah.
which the
Numenera,
setting of Numenera was fantastic. The system was too generic.
And
My
so
opinion.
after we talked about it, I actually went and looked at a bunch of stuff online, and I found a lot of the same thing, which is GMs seem to enjoy running the cipher system, which makes sense because Monte Cook is a long time been kind of on the GM side of things, and it is, as a GM, easy to run the system. It does make things very easy for you. Players, on the other hand, seem to have a very different experience where a lot of times the complaints about the system seem to be coming from all just players. And it's one of those things that Dan brought up is sometimes your choice is, okay, a creature attacks you. Well, you can either spend stuff to try to get out of it, or you can take the damage. But the thing you're spending, so it's like, all right, you got to spend 6 points from your speed pool to not take damage. But if you just take the damage, you're taking 7 points of damage. What's the difference? Like, you're still taking the stat damage because your pools
Yeah.
of your speed, smite, and intellect are also your hit points. So it's like, why should I even try? Why should I just not stand there and get hit? Like, there's no appreciable difference. Or even worse, you could spend the 6 points to try to not get hit. You could still fail, so then you spend the 6 and you take the 7 damage.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of similar to what was it? The Mansion board game. Crap, can't remember the name of it now.
Oh,
Betrayal.
yeah. Betrayal on the Hill, whatever the hell it is.
House on Haunted
Yeah.
Hill or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
all your stats are your hit points, and you pretty much die when one of them reaches 0.
Which is fine if it's a board
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
It works for a
not-
board game. It doesn't
Yeah.
work well for.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, like you know, the way you kind of described it, where DMs love running it and players not so much, that reminds me of 5e. Like, as a game master, I love running 5e. It's fucking simple. It's easy. Runs pretty smooth. As a player, I'm like, oh god, I'm so hindered. I can't do shit. This is not great. Like, that's usually how I feel as a player. So
I mean, my players have lots of options and shit to do. I don't know what games you're playing.
it's because I played older editions. I have that older edition-itis. So I like, just as an example, I'm playing currently. I'm an 11th level wizard, or I was 10th level at the time when this whole thing happened. One of our players, our buddy Jacob, he was suffering from some madness, and he decided his character was going to fucking try to kill us. So I, as the wizard, I haven't got a lot of ways to shut down a fucking fighter. Because first off, he was a samurai subclass, so he gets advantage on all wisdom saving throws. He's got a boatload of hit points, so trying to burn him down isn't going to work. I'd have to hit him with like 5 fireball spells, maybe, to drop him. And if I manage to get a spell to stick, well, it lasts for 1 minute at most, and at that point, he can just try to keep killing me.
Mhm.
So wizards are very, very sort of hindered in 5e once you start getting in levels trying to fight certain things. Yeah, I harken back to second edition. Wizards in the beginning sucked. Fucking terrible. You got 4 hit points, you get 1 spell a day. But by the point you're 11th level, you are a serious fucking threat. You're still squishy, but your spells are gonna do things. So, yeah, I always feel like at 5e, I have very sort of limited things I'm capable of doing. Oh, and when you get higher level, you can do 1 9th level spell a day or 1 8th level spell a day. Why? Why only 1? What the fuck is the point of being a high level caster if you can do it once a day?
Game
So
balance.
yeah, game balance.
I mean, I don't have any problems killing players no matter what level they are. They have a lot of ways to kill me no matter what level they are. I ran a level 4 session here at Adventures League this week, and I had a person make a level 5 character because I killed his character the previous week, which I talked about. And I killed him this week on his level 5 fighter by paralyzing him and having ghouls just eat the shit out of his brains. So, I
Did
mean,
nobody help him?
no, I shut the doors on them and they couldn't open them.
It's a door.
Was this the DC 12 strength check or something like that?
It was a DC 12 strength check,
Oh my god.
and then 5 players in a row could not make the check, including the other fighter that had like +5 or +7 to athletics.
Did they attack the door rather than just try to push it open?
The door was it was a
doors tend to
double
have
wide.
they have hit points usually, so
It was a double wide stone door.
A double wide.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
That
That
was
was
in Alabama.
extremely heavy and had like this mural of Orcus on it. And yeah, they couldn't push it open. Quite funny. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't even think you're being harsh, Chris. I think your players just have terrible luck. Like they're
Oh,
cursed
I
with
know I'm
bad
not
luck.
being harsh. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, you gonna try to push open the doors now? I was like, yeah, okay, go ahead. DC's 12. That's a 2. Okay. All right, the 8 ghouls are gonna attack you now. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe just maybe it's not the system. Maybe you just read the character wrong or something.
Yeah.
Alright.
Read the character wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
it also crowdfunding currently is Deadlands Classic 20th anniversary reprint.
Yeah. Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
It's another one I want to back that I probably won't.
Yeah, get back to
Yeah.
me when they reprint Tank Girl.
Deadlands
Yeah.
Classic 20th anniversary. Yeah, there we go. I had to find the backer kit for it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Western RPG?
It is a weird Western RPG, yes.
That
Where
seems to be pretty popular right now. I'm seeing tons of those.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's become kind of a thing recently. I don't know why they all seem to show up next to each other. This was
Yeah.
maybe one of the original ones. It has a
Yeah.
neat system for their caster-ish people where you're gambling with dark powers and you have to make poker hands in order to use your abilities.
That's
I
kind of
actually
cool.
played this system for about 2 or 3 years for a while with my normal Sunday gaming group, probably about a decade ago now. It was a lot of fun. Not only do the casters have their own deck, I think they were called Hucksters, and there's another one I
Yes.
forgot what it's called. But they have to play cards against the devil basically to make their hand in order to cast a spell. But in addition to that, in order to do initiative, the initiative was actually done with a deck of cards as well. And ace is high, and you go from there. And certain characters would get more than one action based upon what they could do. Like a higher level gunslinger could get like 3 actions or something like that, or martial artist, because of course you have Chinese dudes working on the railroad that maybe end up being part of the Weird West as well. Maybe being a martial artist that's going to be there, end up with like 3 or 4 actions as well. But it was a really fun system. It did suffer from that same thing that I was talking about with Cypher, where you play it long enough, you just there's not enough things for you to buy or get, and if you're, it also suffers from the same sort of thing from 90% of the systems out there suffer from. Is like, if you're playing this type of character, you have to get this ability, or else you're kind of trash character. Like all the gunslingers had the same abilities. All of the hucksters had the same basic abilities. It was very, everyone was kind of similar once you had more than 4 people in the party. But thematically, though, it was a very cool thing. It was, you're just kind of going across the Old West, except it was incredibly strange, and you had weird creatures and monsters like the Tumblebleed that would come and attack you when you're trying to camp out at night. You'd have the Hanging Judge, which is like an undead that would be off trying to find you if you committed a crime. All kinds of really cool and inventive monsters for that campaign setting. And I would definitely say that Deadlands would be the OG of the Old West style, or I guess Weird West style game systems.
I think it's the first one.
It's the first one of note for sure.
Yeah, Werewolf Wild West might have come out before that. I'm not quite
completely
sure.
different feel though. Completely different feel though.
Yeah, but they kind of in the same vein. You're still taking weird stuff and putting it in the Old West, but Deadlands was very dedicated to that.
Yeah, and it's the same system as Savage Worlds, other than using the cards. So if you're familiar with Savage Worlds or Evernight or 50 Fathoms, same guy, same system, just kind of a different variant of it. And I think that Deadlands was probably the first of them.
Deadlands was actually first. It was in 1996, and Werewolf Wild West came in 1997.
There you go.
There you go.
Who was the writer for original writer for Deadlands? Can't think of him at the moment.
Yeah, I am unsure who it was.
East Clintwood.
Yes, East
There he
Clintwood.
is. There he is. Yep. Fucking East Clintwood, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah. The only other one like this that I can remember was Aces and Eights. But it wasn't quite Weird West. And I know that not DCC, but Goodman Games recently did the Weird Frontiers that came out.
And even our friend that we met at the GaryCon and
was. Yeah, he wrote. No, but he wrote his stuff for Weird Frontiers.
I know. I'm just saying is like it's why it just keeps coming back around. It seems.
Yeah.
Apparently Lacey Hensley.
Yeah, that's the guy. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out lately that I want to back. And why does everything require money?
Yeah.
We live in a capitalist society.
Capitalist dog pigs. Yeah, none of this would be coming out if we didn't, though. So,
also, Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0.
Yeah, this is kind of what I've been wanting to hear about.
Yeah, so I've missed, or I did not buy into or care about Shadowrun Anarchy when it first came out because I was running or winding down running my Shadowrun game. So I didn't really need. It was kind of banking itself as like a rules light version of Shadowrun, but being already deep into a Shadowrun game, I didn't really need to go to a different rule set for a game I was already very familiar with and running.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really think anything of it. It didn't seem to do well here in the States, but apparently overseas in Europe, it was very popular.
You throw the word anarchy on anything, you can sell it overseas.
It was very popular in Europe. I guess they like their rules light systems. Those things seem to be popular across the pond, as it were. But and I don't remember hearing anything about it for a long time until this came out, and this is actually being done by the company that does the translations and publishing for Shadowrun books in France. They had actually apparently made a bunch of revisions and edits and house rules and additions to the Anarchy 1.0 system, to where a lot of people basically said with all their stuff added on, it was basically Anarchy 1.5.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to do this to really bring it up more in line with the kind of modern, wherever Shadowrun is in its system now, but kind of bring things back and be able to actually officially add a bunch of their house rules and their addendums and stuff into the game and make it one nice shiny product that they could put out. So this is that. I think I may grab it. It seems interesting. Doing a lot more in the way of rules light systems now. It's still using the familiar Shadowrun mechanic of you need a bucket full of D6s.
Hell yeah.
But it seems to just really streamline things as far as how often you have to roll, and really trimming down, I think, matrix and rigging and those kind of things that required almost their own full different mini games within the game.
Yeah. That's what it needed. Like the core system of Shadowrun was fine. It ran quite well. But once you started adding in hackers and the matrix runs and everything, then you have to play mini games, and that was annoying. Nobody liked it.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of people that ran the matrix and rigging rules for Shadowrun raw, just because it took so much time out of the action that most people just adapted it and was like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yep.
So this looks interesting. It's got cool Shadowrun art. All the Shadowrun things you would expect. I'm gonna try to watch some more and figure out some more about how the rules actually play.
So they actually have a little thing in the Kickstarter, core rules and basic rules on how to play it, and I immediately see the differences. So roll a number of 6-sided dice equal to your attribute plus your skill plus any specializations. That is your dice pool. 5s and 6s count as hits. Whereas it used to be, the target number could be very, very different depending on what you were doing. Like if you're trying to hit a troll and it has a toughness of 8, well, your target number is 8. So
that was only the older edition that you played. In 4th edition and beyond, they moved past doing higher target number, where you would have to roll your d6s and then any 6s you rolled again. They moved to requiring a number of hits.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So instead of a target number of 8, you would say, well, you have to get 4 successes on your dice pool.
So they changed it to Vampire the Masquerade or White Wolf system.
Kind of more like that, essentially. So you would have to roll less, because before you would have to be like, well, what if my target number is a 12? Well, then I got to roll 6s. And
yeah,
any
you better
6s
roll.
I got to re-roll those,
yep.
And if those roll 6s, I got to re-roll those.
Yes, the exploding dice. Okay. Yeah, I stopped playing Shadowrun with 2nd edition, so any changes after that I am completely unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I ran my last game in the 4th edition, and specifically 4th edition Anniversary Edition, which I still think is one of the better versions. I still like my Shadowrun 3E2, but I think 4th edition, their Anniversary Edition of 4E was very good.
Yeah.
Very solid edition.
And
I read a brief review of, I guess they're on 6th edition now.
Oh, Lord.
I read a brief review of it, and they're like, if you've never played Shadowrun before, you'll probably be fine. If you played any other edition of Shadowrun, you will hate it.
And for anyone who's listening to us and knows nothing about Shadowrun at all, and I wouldn't be surprised, because it's an older game that hasn't seen a lot of love for a number of years. It's an interesting setting. Imagine cyberpunk or Blade Runner or any futuristic world where giant mega corporations actually run the world. Like the world we live in now, except with more technology.
Really though, is it?
Well, hey,
Not much.
I mean, you can't really plug in and go on to the internet quite yet. We're getting there.
Let's pump the brakes and say that it seemed like a dark cyberpunk future in 1984 or so. Whenever it doesn't seem
88.
so futuristic now. Really?
Yeah, yeah, I know. But anyway, so imagine that, and then magic comes back. And when magic comes back, people start transforming into dwarves and elves and trolls and orcs. And then there are dragons and there are ghouls and undead and all of the crazy shit that you would see in a D&D game now existing in this futuristic setting.
Just give us 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do it in a pretty. I like the way that they do it. Like when they the way they write all the books too is one of my favorite parts about it. Is that everything is written like in world, and then in the style of like old school internet forums. Like within the book, you have personalities, like in-game personalities, commenting on all the stuff and sometimes arguing with each other. And so everything is presented in this almost unreliable narrator way. You're being given the information by someone that is in the world who may or may not have an agenda. And then there's for like the game master and for specific stats and stuff, they give you like the rules of like how this works. But as far as the story and the setting, there's always kind of this, you probably know most of the truth, but there's always this little, there's enough waviness around it that you can kind of make the world your own and decide, which of the competing theories that people put out there in the books are true and which are not.
Yep. Yeah, like offhand, I can't think of any specific examples, but you may just read one person, by the name of Hacker 2020, and he might be saying that, in the back of this bar that, they're taking people and using them for illicit purposes. And then somebody else, after that might be the Seattle Police Department saying this is true or this is untrue or you're full of crap. It's just like a forum would be. People just sort of shitting on each other, calling each other liars or backing each other up.
You literally just described 4chan and Pizzagate.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's mostly written from the perspective of that this is what's called Shadowland, which is what they call a next generation BBS, and it's mostly as a resource that, you have to be a Shadowrunner to get in mostly. So it's a kind of a in-network kind of group for people that are, mercenary Shadowrunners. And the term in the world is a Shadowrunner is a deniable asset for a mega corporation. You take jobs to go do something bad to another mega corporation. You usually don't know who you're working for. The contacts all just call themselves Mr. Johnson, and they hire you to do a job, and you choose to do it or choose not to do it. And then you get paid.
And
you
hopefully,
literally just described Doge.
Yeah, and hopefully there's no blowback. A lot of times there is.
Yeah, but no, they have interesting ways.
Are you guys sure you're not talking about today's world again?
Yeah, because otherwise I would have gotten my spine replaced with a cyber spine that works and provides Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah,
you're just not rich enough to buy it, though.
Yeah, and I wouldn't need
Dude,
glasses.
I'd fucking have wired reflexes right now.
Again, who says it doesn't exist? You're just not rich enough to get it.
Well,
I don't believe that basketball player can jump that high without some kind of cyber augmentics.
But that's how we know, because even here, gutter punks can afford that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the medical system works better in Shadowrun.
Yeah.
No, what you're describing to me is you're describing to me what the current world that exists, but they have free healthcare.
Oh, it's not free. It's definitely not free, but they have God, what do they call them? The cyber doc. Yeah, they
You
have
do have-
cyber docs that you can
They,
just.
sorry, they also have Dock Wagon, which are your. You could get a contract with them, which is expensive, and there's different tiers for it, which gives you different levels of medical service. But if you have the super high tier of like the platinum tier Dock Wagon, they will send an armed medical response team to your position. Even sometimes, if you're the really high tiers, if it's onto like some other nation, states, or corporate property, they will drop in there with a crack squad of commandos to come and get your ass out of there when your biosensors like register that you're in trauma.
Yeah.
Again, I
and
feel like you're just displaying our world, and that's just a politician right now.
No. Yeah, like I know you didn't play the game very far, Chris, but Cyberpunk, the video game, Cyberpunk Red, actually, the very beginning of the game, that's what happens. Like you are going in to find this lady who's missing, and when you find her, I think either she had a chip in her or you activated the chip, and then immediately after, within 5 minutes, a fucking crack team shows up and grabs the body and runs with it.
Yeah, but I to drop the joke facade. Like I honestly believe that shit is real right now. It's just we're not rich enough to own it. So.
Yeah, maybe parts of this, but anyway, but that's sort of the setting for Shadowrun, and they're coming out with a much the Rules Light 2.0 edition. I'm definitely interested because Shadowrun, while it is a fantastic game, it is also a fairly rules heavy game. So getting one with a lot less of that will be nice.
More specifically, it is a very rules heavy game that not everyone will understand the same set of rules that each different player is playing by, because hackers don't play by the same rules that mages play by, and they don't play by the same rules that the street Sams play by.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even joking about that. Like on initiative track, like you'll have the street Sam attack 3 times, and the mage will attack once, or if he has a spell active, he'll attack multiple times as well. And you'll have like the hacker who's just gonna be like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do my own side encounter over here for 30 minutes with the DM while I try to hack into a system. And it's like, oh my fucking god! Like,
Yeah,
it is the most complicated combat system you can ever imagine in all the versions of it. Unfortunately, to the point where I almost would would almost prefer just to have an NPC be the hacker and the man in the chair doing all the shit behind the scenes for you, just so you can just have fun and do your fucking runs.
Yeah, and it was always kind of a shame too that it was that way, because they put a lot of effort into the hacker class, and the deckers. Thank you. And if you're wanting to play a decker, you may want to really dive into it and buy all of the programs and get the hottest deck and everything like that. And then your DM may be like, okay, we're just going to make a couple of rolls here. That way, we're not spending 45 minutes of you trying to break into the matrix while people are trying to fucking fight right around your body.
And that's exactly what it kind of ended up with for the few times I think we actually ended up doing that. It was like there'd be this cool scene where the decker would do the thing that they need to do in order to get into the system, get past the black ice, and hack the camera so the team can go in there and do the thing. But if the decker has to actually do anything in combat, they're fucking worthless. There's the dude with the pistol that has no armor, no special abilities in combat, nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think Zach was your guys' decker, and we ended up letting him kind of respend because I cut out a bunch of the decking stuff. Yeah, so that's why he was also he was the guy with the pistol. Remember? He was your decker that decided that he was a sniper as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys knew you were going into a dangerous area. Everyone told him not to go off on his own, so he immediately went off on his own into ghoul country.
Yeah, he did.
And then got ambushed by ghouls.
Yeah.
But he rolled well enough there is a roll you make, and he rolled well enough to both survive and to retain his intelligence and personality, even though he was becoming a ghoul.
Yeah, he just keep a refrigerator full of human body parts.
He did.
Yeah, he'd just be decking with one hand and fucking eating it, just gnawing on an arm of an orc with the other, and just okay. It's a fun setting. The world they've created is absolutely awesome. But yeah, I've never like this. I've never quite had the system click with me. Just because of the disjointed way that they all work together or don't.
Yeah, well, I am hoping that maybe Anarchy will bring that in line, or at least streamline it away enough that it'll make it pretty easy for everyone to feel like they're playing the same game and have a slim enough set of rules that everyone can grasp them. So I have good hopes.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've been talking about Shadowrun for a little bit. Fill me in on how Will Smith fits into all this.
He doesn't.
Then why was he like the face of it?
Because of the movie Bright, which took a lot of aspects from Shadowrun and made a movie out of it.
Yeah.
It has
And why are the orcs
no
blue?
relation. Has no fucking relation to Shadowrun.
Are you sure? Because it sounds like you just described the movie Blight. Bright.
No.
Blight Bright.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Blight,
you
Bright,
can't even. You
Bright,
don't even know.
Blight.
Yeah. No.
I like that movie, but yeah,
should-
has no
Yeah,
relation.
you should play Shadowrun, Chris. They have trolls. You'd be
Yep.
right at home.
I am a
Yeah,
troll.
if you look hard enough,
I know.
a decade ago, maybe even longer, we dressed up as a Shadowrun team, and I actually dressed up as a troll mage.
Yep, I've seen the picture.
Mhm.
Yeah, Chris would hate it though because these versions of trolls aren't like World of Warcraft trolls, which is what he envisions with trolls. So,
Yep.
Oh, you
All
mean
time.
lame?
yes, lame.
Yeah.
Lame, lanky, made of cheese.
Made of cheese. What?
World of Warcraft is dumb.
World of Warcraft is not dumb. It's only 20 years old and really
It's
dumb at the
pretty-
moment.
It's pretty dumb.
You know what? It
It's-
was never good.
Oh shit!
Out. Shots
What you
fired.
gotta do?
I will disagree there. I think Warcraft 1 and 2 and most of 3 had a really cool design and charm to it.
World of Warcraft was never good.
I enjoyed it for a while.
I never did. I tried because I had friends that were playing it, and they all tried to get me to play, and I just it was never held my interest. I could not. The first time when some friends invited me to do a raid, and it took 45 minutes before anything got started, I was just like, "Nah, man, I'm out. I'm not just staring at the screen doing nothing for 45 minutes."
No, man, you're not doing nothing. You're prepping, bro. You're going over the strategy to, like, do a raid and kill that one big boss guy. Be
Yeah,
super
no,
stoked.
I'm glad the people that are into it have fun with it. It is definitely not a game for me.
Yeah, hey, I mean, you should be used to the hurry up and wait game. We did it for 20 years LARPing, so
Yeah.
But I could go out and make my own fun or trouble there, and if I do that during a WoW raid, people get real mad.
I think every game has a certain amount of waiting to it. It just you learn to get through it a little bit better. But anyways, so we're past an hour now, but so I definitely need to talk about the psionics before we leave. All right.
All right, yeah,
So
you go
anyways,
ahead.
the